Everybody, this is Jim with Harvest Harmonics, and welcome to another episode of The Profitable Farmer, where we show you how to make more money doing what you love, and hopefully what your future generations will love too. I got into this business years and years and years ago because I really wanted to improve the way farmers operate. My grandparents were all farmers, and they worked hard their whole life. They provided a good living for all of us and for my parents, and they passed that on. And they didn't necessarily die rich, but they definitely, you could just see it in their eyes that they lived a good life, and they were proud of what they did, and we were proud of them. And today, the way agriculture is being done around the world is tough. Let's face it. You work long hours. It hasn't necessarily gotten easier, even though there's a lot more equipment and technology and everything else involved. And so one of the reasons I personally got involved with Harvest Harmonics is because I realized that farmers needed all the help they can get. And you look around the media and politics and everything, and it seems like they want to make farmers the bad guy for using chemicals or putting pesticides and those types of things on the crops, but they're just trying to make a living. So when I saw what this technology can do, what the Kiminasi technology can do, and how it can help farmers make more money and help everybody eat healthier, it's just a win-win situation. And I think if we all took a few minutes every time when we're reacting to stuff on social media or when we're kind of reacting to the media, those things, we take a minute and say, how can we find the win-win situation in anything? Then everybody wins. Let's stop blaming each other and stop working together to make the world a better place. And that's kind of what we're doing here at Harvest Harmonics. So the really cool thing about what we're doing is we are, as a company, Harvest Harmonics is revolutionizing and revitalizing agriculture. And we're doing it in a way that does not require you as a farmer to change what you're doing. So we're not asking you to completely wholesale immediately wipe out all the chemicals or everything else you're used to. But what you're going to find is this technology can help make the plants healthy enough to where you don't need those pesticides and those chemicals and everything else. You just don't need to add lots of fertilizer if the plants are really efficient at utilizing utilizing the fertilizer that they have. So let me show you here. I want to show you today what this technology is all about and some of the more recent results we've got. Because if you're used to just regular fertilizers or regular inputs or soil amendments or something, you're going to look at these results and think there's no way that's possible. When you really understand exactly how this technology works and why it works, I think you're going to be amazed at the kinds of results you can get on your farm. So let me show you this here and share my screen. There we go. All right. So our mission as a company is very simple, and it's we're trying to improve the world of agriculture. Our mission really is to help people eat healthier, and the way we do that is by providing a technology to farmers that allows them to grow with less petrochemicals, less GMOs, less things that would be normally toxic or not as healthy for human consumption. And we're allowing farmers to make more money in the process because we're reducing input costs, but we're simultaneously increasing crop yields as well. So, what is the basis of this technology? What is this technology all about? Okay, so the first thing you should know is that the technology is based upon a fundamental concept that every living thing on this planet to be alive needs some form of metabolism. It has to be able to convert one form of energy to another. Now, in the case of plants, that process is called photosynthesis, right? It's utilizing the sun's energy to break apart the molecular bonds within water and other nutrients and recombining them into nutrients that form fruits and vegetables and allow plants to grow. And of course, plants and animals can utilize those nutrients and we get our sustenance from them. Now, the interesting thing about this is that all metabolism, all biological processes operate according to a very specific frequency pattern. In other words, it's not just some random set of processes occurring randomly at any given time period. No, if you want to have a healthy, productive plant, those biological processes have to be in tune with each other and aligned to each other. Because if they're not, they're going to not necessarily produce the energy or be able to get it to where it needs to go at the right time, which will generate the most fruit production. So Over the 15 years that this technology was developed, we've studied hundreds of varieties of plants, including flowers, trees, row crops, fruits and vegetables of all types. And we notice, or excuse me, I should say, the inventor noticed that healthy, productive plants produce a frequency signature that's very organized and very consistent. It doesn't alter or change very much when the plant is healthy. However, when the same varieties of plants are under some kind of stress, in this case, a heat stress in the sunflower, its biological processes are altered. And because of that, the frequency output is altered as well. Now, what that means is the plant, instead of going into growth mode and producing lots of flowers or lots of fruits and vegetables, the plant goes into a survival mode where it cannot actually produce the energy that it needs. It tries to conserve its resources, including water. But the problem with that is, of course, over a whole season, the plant's probably losing 30 to 50% of the available energy available to it through photosynthesis, just because of these different fluctuating weather patterns, insect pressures, and weeds as well. So the inventor of this technology discovered that if he can take the healthy frequency pattern or the healthy outputs of healthy plants and provide them to unhealthy or stressed plants, the stressed plants will recover their health. That was the first major breakthrough in terms of biophysics that we learned here. Now, the other thing is, in a practical sense, a farmer, in order for a farmer to use this, we can't just put a big speaker with the right frequencies in the middle of the field and start blaring out music or blaring out these types of things. It just doesn't work. So, what the inventor of this technology discovered is that water is a very good carrier of these frequency wave signals. In fact, that's how whales and dolphins can communicate in the ocean. That's how submarines can communicate and send signals from the submarine to the land base, and it's a very, very effective carrier of radio wave signals. So the inventor of this technology programmed these little transmitters with the 3,000 plus frequencies of Kiminasi technology that improves plant physiology and plant metabolism to such a degree that they're able to grow stronger, healthier, faster, with more flowering and fruits and vegetables, better insect and disease resistance, and less problems due to funguses and other problems. Now, keep in mind that this technology has never existed before, okay? It's not a magnet technology, it's not a water vortex system, it's not a any kind of water treatment device. This is a radio wave technology, and to our knowledge, it hasn't ever existed before. Now, the cool thing is it's a very easy product to use and install. In fact, it doesn't require maintenance or power source once it's installed. And we just install it right to the outside of your existing water pump or irrigation system. And for smaller growers that have, let's say, less than 5 acres, we have pre-made pipe fittings that can be just plumbed right into your irrigation line, and you can water your crops just the way you normally would. Now, the two key areas that our Kiminasi plant booster technology improves is in photosynthesis efficiency and soil health. So with photosynthesis efficiency, we get faster growth rate, more vigorous growth in the early phases. We get more flowering in fruits and vegetable production, and we get better quality as well. Now let's take a look at some examples here. So the first example is literally our most recent example. This is at a Columbian University, a tier one agriculture university in Colombia. We're running a trial, which we should have some white papers here at the end of this season. But already 3 months into the season, we're seeing the corn stalks are 14.4 feet tall. They're 4.5 meters tall. You can see in the picture, the head agronomist here, how much taller these things are than even they are. Now, typically, you wouldn't even see corn this high, even at full season. But here we are 3 months into the season. These are still growing a bit. You know, they're not even full height yet, but you can see how tall they are. And this farm also had a completely organic, no fertilizer, no chemicals used here as well to produce these corn stalks. And the real excitement for us is that they're producing 2 ears per stalk. So we're actually seeing buds and the beginning phases of 2 full ears per stalk. So instead of getting 1 ear per stalk and relying on the fact that you have good sizing and whatever, we're actually producing 2 ears per stalk, and they're going to have enough energy to produce 2 full size ears as well. Completely organic, no chemicals used. Now, just to give you an idea, the control group, which is not in the picture here, they're about 5 feet tall on the same farm, literally about 10 feet away from each other. So 5 feet tall with no buds and no tasseling, no ears, versus 14 feet tall with 2 ears per stalk in just 3 months. So this is one huge example, and we can't wait to see the white paper on this. Now, other examples we have is a citrus farm where we took a field of 1-year-old seedlings on citrus trees and compared them to his neighbor's 2-year-old field right next door. And the 1-year-old field after 9 weeks was starting to outgrow the 2-year-old field next door. In fact, now we're seeing they're already almost twice as tall with much better health and vigor than they were before. In nursery applications, we saw dragon fruits growing twice as fast, reducing their growth time from 10 weeks down to only 5 weeks. And you see here the picture at 5 weeks, what the differences in the plants look like. In greenhouse applications, we've seen doubling the production of pepper plants with zero pesticides or fungicides used. Now, this is according to the agronomist here, this is the first time in 17 years he's ever seen a situation where he didn't have to spray one of his greenhouses for something. And that was because the plants were nice and healthy. They didn't really require it. Outdoor tomato production. Here we increased the quality of tomatoes by 30% to 100% of the highest quality rating, with again zero pesticide used on the treated field. In melon production, we got a 25% increase in melon production with less minor flies. In artichoke production, we got 27% increase there with less nematodes in the soil. We saw more vigorous growth on squash, where the squash plants were literally 4 feet off the ground, with an 18% overall increase in production versus the previous year. In mite infestation rates and grapevines, we saw a reduction from 48% of the untreated vines down to less than 10%. And here's the agronomy report where we showed that. In India, we saw improvement of 20% increase in yield on eggplants with, again, zero insect problems on the treated field. And literally, you can just see in this picture how much insect damage there was in this farm, in this area, just by all the holes in the leaves that these insects were creating. But the Kiminasi fields had virtually no damage. Now, the reason why our system is so effective against insects is because insects are naturally programmed to go after weaker, less healthy plants. In fact, that's nature's way of sort of clearing out the dead wood to make way for newer generations of plants. And so our system is making that plant so healthy that its natural biochemical responses against insects make them undesirable to insects, and the insects just avoid those fields. So you'll see much less problem with insects without even having to spray. Now, in terms of yield increases, what we're seeing is a 49% increase here on asparagus. This is the largest asparagus grower down in South America, so it's not a small farm by any means. We saw a 26% increase in yield over control crops in the National Agrarian University here on watermelons. That's a 12 ton per hectare difference here. Now, we saw an 18% increase in pepper production up in Washington State, a 55% improvement in lime production in Colombia. We saw a 32% increase in production on potatoes and a 33% yield increase on lentils in India. So in addition to the extra yield, we're seeing better quality as well. So for example, here on these cherries, we did see a 25% increase, but the cherries were larger, they were sweeter, and they were juicier. And as a result, the farmer was able to sell them for $1 per kilogram more than his normal cherries. And that netted him a profit of $46,953 per hectare. So imagine if on a per acre basis, you're making $18,000 to $20,000 more because of improved yield and improved quality. And that's exactly what the Kiminasi plant booster is doing on farms all over the world. More examples here, increasing bricks of 5 points in just 4 weeks of application on these plum trees. We saw a 10% increase in size, as well as better bricks to acidity ratio, and overall less bruising and loss due to freezing on these blueberries, where the farmer made $12,497 per hectare. Again, that's about $4,500 more per acre with Kiminasi. Now, these numbers are 10, 20, 30 times return on investment. So I've heard some farmers talk about, well, how much does it cost? And that's the first thing and the only thing they think about is how much something costs. But consider this, if you had a fertilizer that cost you $30 an acre and it had a maximum output gain of maybe 30 or 50 or $60 per acre, you might think, well, that's 100% return on my investment. But if you can't, there comes a point where fertilizer is not going to continue to increase. Now let me tell you, what if you could spend $100 or $200 or $500 or $1,000 an acre, but I can guarantee you're going to see 3 to 10 times return on your investment. That's an important measurement. And in profitability terms, you want to maximize your return on investment. It's not always about getting the cheapest inputs. In fact, that's kind of what landed us in the situation we are in worldwide agriculture, where we put a lot of petrochemicals in fertilizers and soil amendments and pesticides because they're cheaper. Yet it creates long-term problems in terms of soil health, reduced microbial activity, and overall not necessarily the best quality of fruits and vegetables either. So this technology is a completely natural technology and is producing amazing, amazing gains. Some more examples here: 56% increase in exportability of blueberries. In other words, the quality rating got to the point where they were able to export a higher percentage of their blueberries than ever before. And in Washington State, we've seen better Brix rating as well, where the farmer didn't even fertilize his grapevines, and he got a 6 point increase in Brix from his previous best of 19 to all the way up to 25. So, just to give, anyway, I was about to hit my summary here. So, in addition to obviously yield and improvements in quality, we're also seeing improvements in soil health. Now, that's the real key here, because if you can improve soil health, you're going to ensure that you'll have a sustainable solution that's going to produce great fruit in years to come. Now, what we're seeing is a reduction in salt content or soil conductivity, improvement in overall microbial activity, and better water retention characteristics in the soil. And as a result, farmers are reporting that they're using less water than they did before, and their plants and trees have better tolerance to salt and other problems. For example, this soil test showed that there was a reduction in soil conductivity from 2.3 down to 1.7, and a reduction in salt content from 1.1, which was a high rating, down to 0.6, which was considered average. In this almond grove, the farmer used 66% less water and got 200% better water penetration down into the soil because of our Kiminasi plant booster. And this farmer saved 46% of his water, and he got a 30% increase in production on his walnut trees. And you can just see in the pictures the difference in the health of the trees versus when they started and how we ended up with Kiminasi. So just a quick summary again, 20% increases in yield are very common. We're seeing better fresh weight, more fruit, less petal drop, and improvements in quality ratings like Brix rating, Brix to acidity ratio, and shelf life. In terms of the soil health, we're seeing better microbial activity, as I mentioned, and better water retention as well. So we've launched this product at the end of 2019, and in that short period of time, we were able to get established on well over 100 farms here in the United States, even with COVID slowing things down a bit. In South America, we've got another 400 or 500 farms down there, and then in India and other areas, we've got dozens of farms around the world as well. In fact, Africa right now is really taking off in the last month. I think we've shipped out 6 or 7 devices just in the last week or two, just to African countries as well. So if you're in Africa and you want to be part of the cutting edge of agriculture, you need to take a look at this technology. And having said all that, let me just open it up here. What questions do you guys have that I can answer for you? Um, I would love to work with you here. Oops, what we got here? So hopefully we didn't cut off there. I showed that something just kind of shut off there. So hopefully I didn't break up too much, but I'd like to answer whatever questions you guys have. If you guys are still live with me here, what kind of questions do you have that I can answer for you? Including, how do we get started? I mean, I would love to work with as many farmers as we can. Whether you want to try it out on a small area, 1 to 5 acres, or you want to jump in and really take advantage of the profitability of our system, we're here to help you. So take a look at what we can do for you. Any questions, guys? No questions. I got a quiet audience today, which is interesting. Okay, well, I tell you what, guys, if you guys do have questions, you can feel free to call us at 727-324-6750. We'll be happy to answer your questions directly, or you can go to our website at harvestharmonics.com and fill out a request for quote form. We would love to quote you on one of our systems. Every system we have is custom designed for the irrigation system that we install it on, so we need some basic information like flow rate, size of the pipes we're installing it on, the total acreage covered, and those types of things. So fill out a request for quote form. We'll get back to you as soon as we can and give you a nice quote so you can take advantage and become part of the future of farming today. I hope to see you guys soon, guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you.